I've been going around on YouTube recently and having a look at some of the bigger channels that are teaching Japanese and that. And it's like one real common trend I've started to notice amongst all of these is that like a lot of the most popular videos, right, are like a Japanese person sitting there saying, learn how to learn Japanese from a Japanese person. They're like, I'm Japanese, so I'll tell you how you should learn Japanese. And like, it'd be fine, right, if it's a Japanese person saying, oh, this is how you say this in Japanese, right? Because they're a native speaker saying, this is how you say this, because they know the best, right? That's their language, yeah? But it makes actually no fucking sense to sit there and say, I'm a native speaker, I'll tell you how to learn Japanese. Like, if you're a Japanese person and you're also teaching people how to learn Japanese, it makes no fucking sense because you've never learned Japanese yourself, right? Like, maybe you've learned English if you're not like, say, a native speaker of both English and Japanese, or, whatever languages you speak. But it makes no sense to say, oh, this is how you learn Japanese if you're a Japanese person. Like, you don't know. Like, for instance, you take kanji, for instance. How did they learn kanji? They learn it from when they're a kid, maybe like 7, 8 years old. I don't know when the fuck they start. But like when they're in primary school, start doing kanji. And by the time they're in high school, they know how to read and write kanji, right? How are they supposed to tell you how to learn it then? Are they going to tell you go to primary school? Go back and learn it how primary school kids learn it? It seems a bit inefficient, right, to say take 10 years or however long it takes to learn how to write and read in a different language. That's why people think it's so difficult, is because they look at, the Japanese system, this is how they do it. That takes 10 years to learn. It's because they're kids. Like, you're trying to teach kids how to do it, like that are 8 years old, 5 years old, whatever. But as an adult, there's different ways, better ways, and people have figured out those better ways. So I've always had like this weird kind of thing where people look at me, for instance, and say, I teach Japanese. Like, on this channel, I teach Japanese, do some one-on-one stuff on my Patreon and stuff like that as well. People say, oh, but you're not Japanese, so wouldn't people rather learn from a Japanese person? It's like, okay, maybe they might want to ask Japanese people how to say shit, but that person's never learned how to speak the language. It'd be like me trying to teach people how to learn English. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, I grew up knowing it. How the fuck am I supposed to tell people how to learn it? It doesn't make any sense. Like, it goes against the popular sort of thinking amongst like the general language learning kind of population. But it makes no sense to learn a language off of a native speaker and be told how to learn it. Like, when I sit here and say, okay, to learn Japanese, you need to go do the writing system first, then go and do some grammar, only a little bit just to understand, then go and immerse in it, and then output at the same time, speak at the same time. And that's how you get good at speaking it. That's from personal experience of me going through from the beginner stage to the, I don't like, I'm not saying this to make myself sound like a sitcom, to like N1 stage, sort of expert stage where I'm able to like do whatever I want in the language. Be like convincingly, like I could speak Japanese to some people over the phone and convince them that I'm not, I'm a native speaker of the language for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, it's possible to do. It's that sort of level that I'm at now. And I've gone through the whole stages from being a beginner to that level, right? A Japanese person's never done that. So how are they supposed to guide you through the way from going from zero, like nothing, to being an expert in the language? It doesn't make any sense. So when I sit here and say, this is what you should do, it's from personal experience, right? That makes sense, right? For me to be able to tell you what I've done to learn it. But then other people are like, oh no, you learn from a native speaker, but they don't know shit. They've never done it. They grew up knowing it. It doesn't make any sense. So it's so frustrating looking at all these other like YouTubers and that putting out videos how to learn Japanese, and they are a Japanese person. It's the same thing actually, on Japanese YouTube, you've got a girl teaching how to speak English. She grew up in America and Japan, like kind of going back and forth. She's a native speaker in both English and Japanese. She's never learned a language in her life, and yet she's teaching people how to learn a language. She doesn't know shit. Of course she doesn't know shit, because she's never done it. Like, just because you know a language doesn't mean you can teach it. I can't teach English for shit, like I was saying. So it makes genuinely no sense for me to sit here and go, oh, this is what you should do to learn English. But Japanese, even though I'm not a native speaker, I'm not perfect at it, I know how to learn it because I've done it myself. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't just come from that innate ability to do it. It comes from knowing the process to get to that level and go from nothing to being able to actually speak it well. So that's why it makes no sense for you to sit there and like listen to native speakers teach it. Unless they're teaching, I guess, phrases, but even still, like I've talked about before, I don't think there's any point of learning phrases. So yeah, that's my opinion on it anyway. You guys let me know what you think about it. But I just think it makes no sense to learn it from a native speaker because they don't really know, do they? But yeah, I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. If you're curious though, if you're new to this channel and you've never seen it, like my sort of thoughts on like how you should learn a language, check out, I've got like a masterclass kind of series, I called it, where I go through each kind of step and guide, like kind of put out a guide to going from nothing to being fluent in Japanese. So if you're interested, check that out. But that's all I really want to say in this video. It's just a quick little thing, like I've just been looking at these videos and being kind of frustrated at it. So I want to put this out, see what you guys think about it. So tell me in the comments what you think. But yeah, that's all I really have to say in this. Stay away from those channels, you know? That's the whole point of this. Stay away from those fucking channels like the Japanese people teaching Japanese. It doesn't make any sense to learn from them. Stick to other foreigners like myself. You've got like Matt versus Japan, even like some other people who've had like actual experience getting to a higher level in Japanese. Listen to them because they've done it, you know? Like actually listen to them, not these random Japanese cunts you see on the internet trying to make a quick buck out of like saying, I'm a Japanese person, this is how you learn Japanese. Doesn't make any sense. So stay away from those guys and subscribe to this channel and go check out some other, you know, foreigners who speak good Japanese if you want to learn it yourself. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching.